read the Edmonton Journal, like a lot of people younger than in the younger demographic only read things online. But yesterday, something very important was published in a few short column inches that I wanted to share with you. Keep Peace at the Forefront, a letter written to the editor by Douglas Roche. What does the gunman storming Parliament mean? It's got high drama and will result in tightened security for sure. But what is the traumatizing media coverage doing to our perspective of the world? Are we going to hunker down even more? Voices calling for intercultural outreach to reduce the economic, social, and religious barriers between people are muted. Attempts to strengthen interpersonal relationships leading to a more peaceful world are slammed behind a police barrier. How can the integralism of humanity reassert itself in a climate of fear of the unknown? Will fighting new evil in the world cast a shadow over the timeless quest for good? We need leadership, political and spiritual, to help people recover a sense of balance. We cannot allow murder at the National War Memorial to erase peace from our minds. So I thought that was a really succinct and heartfelt message from the Honorable Douglas Roche.
Legally speaking, Martin Couture-Roland and Michael Zahav-Bibo are murderers. All the laws to deal with such acts are already in place in Canada, but new legislation is instead being made that also has the potential to be used against legitimate dissenters who oppose government policy. The Harper government is well known for its either you are with us or against us outlook in dividing society and the whole world into those who submit to US dictate and the neoliberal antisocial agenda and those who do not. Who exactly is this legislation to be used against? Moreover, the police are being militarized under the new security paradigm of fighting terrorism, as can be seen by the lockdown of Ottawa following the actions of a lone gunman. The measures that the Harper government wants to normalize also include control and censorship over the internet, the unconstitutional and illegal act of taking citizenship away, and removing the mobility rights granted by the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This has already begun with the confiscation of passports. All Canadians have the right to leave and enter Canada freely unless they have committed a crime. The government wants the ability to take passports away on mere suspicion without evidence. In fact, it is already doing so. We could not arrest someone for having radical thoughts, the RCMP spokesman said. The position of the RCMP says a lot about the Harper government, where it wants to go with its new security paradigm. It wants the ability to arrest people for their views. And what about revoking citizenship? Even more dangerous is the flirtation with the idea of revoking citizenship. Already unconstitutional precedents are being set for removing it among the so-called Western coalition of countries that consistently pay lip service to democracy and then stands shoulder to shoulder with dictatorships like Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Jordan, and Qatar. For example, the British Parliament took steps to remove the British-born Asma al-Assad's British citizenship in 2012, simply on account of the fact that she was Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's wife. The Canadian legal system does not treat everyone equally, and all people are not equal in the court system. Non-citizens are disadvantaged compared to Canadian citizens. Consider then the effects of stripping citizenship away. This will permit the domestic laws and rights protecting citizens. A prime example is the use of security certificates where people can be detained indefinitely without trial without seeing the evidence against them, without due process and a chance to defend themselves in open court. That's it. It's important to think about these things.
Thank you. Significance of what happened in Cold Lake. The mosque was defaced and immediately large numbers of people from Cold Lake went out and cleaned off the mosque. It really shows, that this stuff doesn't wash with the people of Canada and of Alberta. And once again, we can set to rest the myth of the Alberta rednecks, because they took a very progressive stance up there and cleaned up the mosque right away. So that's the majority view. It's not Harper's view.
I'm reminded when I saw the response of the media and the response of the government to these two murders, when they immediately used it to support restrictions on our rights. I'm reminded of the fact that our society is made up of many different sectors of people, religious sectors and so on, and amongst the veterans of the Second World War, there were many who opposed the wars that followed. Sometimes they're in the minority, but there was many amongst the Second World War veterans who opposed the wars that were being led by the United States. And my father was one who really got upset when George Bush invaded Iraq in 2003. He said, his words were, "George Bush is the same as Hitler. It's either Hitler said, you're either with us or you're against us."
Yeah.
And my father passed away in August, but he did do a lot of things. He was very close to the farms were in that area were settlers from all over Europe, and in the 1872, 6,000 Mennonites came from Russia because they didn't want to bear arms, and because of their religion. So my father was really close with a lot of these people, and some of them, like in the Second World War, because they didn't want to bear arms, they took jobs as stretcher bearers in the military. And now Stephen Harper claims to speak for all of the veterans that fought in the Second World War. He doesn't speak for them. I just want to really clarify that on the eve of Remembrance Day, that they are saying that everybody in this country is either with them or against them, and because they're in power, they are trying to put words in the mouths of people who are now dead.